As a covert group shrouded in secrecy, rumored to have ties to the Russian military, operating in the heart of the African continent, from Libya to Sudan and beyond, the Wagner Group has allegedly played a significant role in numerous conflict zones, shaping the course of events in ways we're just beginning to uncover. In this electrifying video, we'll unravel the puzzle piece by piece. So, stay tuned as we expose their alleged involvement, examine their impact on African security, and even venture into the murky world of geopolitics. Now let's take a deep look into the Wagner Group. So, what's the deal with the Wagner Group, you might ask? Well, hold on to your seats because this private military company, cloaked in secrecy, is rumored to have deep ties to the Russian military. Their presence in Africa has sparked intrigue and speculation among analysts and international observers. The Wagner Group provides military services to clients seeking assistance, including personnel, training, and equipment. They operate in conflict zones, and Africa has become a critical theater of their activities, with their alleged involvement spanning several countries. With its vast resources and strategic significance, Africa has been a focal point for global powers seeking influence. Russia, aiming to assert itself internationally, sees Africa as a potential arena to extend its reach. The Wagner Group's African activities align with Russia's objectives to gain political influence, secure economic opportunities, and establish military footholds. By supporting local governments or factions aligned with Russian interests, they contribute to Russia's larger geopolitical strategy. What are the Wagner Group's operations in Africa? Their presence has sent shockwaves across the continent from Libya to Sudan, from the Central African Republic to Mozambique. Though exact intentions remain elusive, it is believed that the Wagner Group aims to secure political influence, gain access to valuable resources, and forge strategic alliances in line with their clients' interests. In Libya, for instance, their alleged support for a particular faction has tilted the balance of power in the ongoing conflict. Their involvement in training, equipping, and advising local forces has played a pivotal role in shaping the outcome. Meanwhile, the Wagner Group's purported assistance to the government forces has had a significant impact in Sudan. Their presence has bolstered the capacity of local troops, providing strategic advantages that contribute to the region's stability. Moving further south, the Central African Republic has also become a hotspot for the Wagner Group. Their reported involvement in protecting key installations and resources aligns with the government's interests, further entwining their influence within the nation's dynamics. What are the impacts of the Wagner Group's activities on African security? The Wagner Group's alleged involvement in these countries has had significant ramifications, affecting regional stability and the lives of countless individuals caught in the crossfire. Let's start by examining Sudan, where its reported activities have profoundly impacted the nation's security landscape. In Sudan, the Wagner Group has reportedly provided government forces with training, support, and military equipment. This assistance has enhanced the capabilities of local troops and contributed to the government's efforts to stabilize the country. However, their presence has sparked debates and raised concerns among international observers. Critics argue that the Wagner Group's involvement may prolong the conflict or exacerbate existing tensions, potentially hindering a peaceful resolution. Shifting our focus to the Central African Republic, the Wagner Group's activities have left an indelible impact on security dynamics within the nation. Their reported assistance in protecting key installations and resources has aligned with the government's interests. Let's examine Mozambique, a country ravaged by a growing insurgency. The Wagner Group's reported involvement in Mozambique has added another layer of complexity to the conflict, with potential implications for regional security and international interests. While some argue that their presence has provided valuable support to Mozambican forces combating the insurgency, others express concerns about the potential escalation of violence or the entrenchment of external influences in the region. What are the humanitarian and political consequences of the Wagner Group's actions in Africa? When examining the consequences, we must first focus on the civilian populations caught in the crossfire. The Wagner Group's alleged activities in conflict-ridden regions have resulted in immense human suffering and a humanitarian crisis of staggering proportions. As conflicts escalate and the Wagner Group's involvement intensifies, thousands of innocent people are uprooted from their homes, fleeing violence and seeking refuge in overcrowded camps or uncertain futures. Also, hospitals, schools, and vital services often bear the brunt of the violence, leaving communities without access to essential healthcare and education, further exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Besides, by entangling themselves in complex political dynamics, the Wagner Group's activities can have far-reaching implications. In some instances, their involvement has led to a lack of trust in governmental institutions, hindering progress towards stability and effective governance. Moreover, the influence of external actors like the Wagner Group can distort power dynamics and impede the development of accountable and transparent governance structures. This can have lasting consequences, undermining the potential for sustainable peace and democratic progress. What are the intricate webs of actions taken by the international community, African governments, and global actors to address this pressing issue? The international community mustered various responses when faced with the Wagner Group's alleged activities. Diplomatic efforts have played a pivotal role in addressing the situation, with countries engaging in discussions, negotiations, and consultations to foster dialogue and seek resolutions. African governments, particularly, have taken a strong stance against the Wagner Group's presence. Recognizing the potential threats to regional stability and sovereignty, they have actively worked to curb their influence and limit their activities on African soil. Sanctions have emerged as a powerful tool in the international response. Countries have sought to deter the Wagner Group and its associates from further intervention in African conflicts by imposing targeted economic measures, such as travel bans and asset freezes. The impact of these measures cannot be underestimated. Sanctions serve as a deterrent, raising the cost of the Wagner Group's activities and signaling the international community's collective disapproval. Sometimes, they have limited the group's mobility and resource access. Global actors have also voiced their concerns and taken action in response to the Wagner Group's activities. International organizations and bodies, such as the United Nations and the African Union, have played a vital role in facilitating dialogue, monitoring the situation, and coordinating efforts among member states. It's important to note that responses to the Wagner Group's presence in Africa remain dynamic and continue to evolve. As more evidence emerges and the international community assesses the implications, additional measures may be considered to address the group's activities. For instance, in 2020, the United States sanctioned several individuals and entities associated with the Wagner Group, signaling their commitment to countering their influence in African conflicts. Additionally, some African governments have taken measures to strengthen their security forces, enhance regional cooperation, and build partnerships with international allies to mitigate the impact of the Wagner Group's activities. What are the potential future developments and implications of the Wagner Group's presence in Africa? The future of the Wagner Group's activities in Africa is uncertain. While precise predictions are challenging, we can identify potential paths based on existing trends, geopolitical dynamics, and historical precedents. One possible scenario is expanding the Wagner Group's presence across the continent. As conflicts persist and opportunities for external intervention arise, it is plausible that the group may seek to extend its influence into new territories or deepen its involvement in existing conflict zones. However, this expansion is likely to face countermeasures from African states. Recognizing the potential threats to their sovereignty and stability, governments may strengthen their security forces, enhance regional cooperation, and seek support from international allies to mitigate the Wagner Group's influence. Furthermore, other international actors may become more actively involved in response to the Wagner Group's activities. Regional and global powers may increase their support for African governments, provide security assistance, or engage in diplomatic efforts to counterbalance the group's influence. It's essential to consider the potential consequences of these future developments. Expanded operations by the Wagner Group may exacerbate conflicts, prolong instability, and deepen the humanitarian crisis in affected regions. The efforts of African states and international actors will play a crucial role in shaping the outcomes. Projections indicate that the Wagner Group's activities in Africa will continue to attract attention and scrutiny from the international community. Efforts to expose their actions, document human rights abuses, and hold accountable those responsible may intensify in the coming years. And so, we reach the end of exploring the mysterious world of the Wagner Group's activities in Africa. Throughout this journey, we have delved into their operations, examined the implications, and speculated on the future. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, we invite you to subscribe, like, share, comment and hit the notifications button.